This is Elimu Learning Simplified. My name is Eric. I'll be taking you through this topic, coordinates and graphs. And for this particular subtopic, we'll be covering graphs of straight lines. So we have a few questions on the same to help us with illustrations on how you can draw the graphs of straight lines. And for this particular lesson, we'll be covering this type of So we'll be covering this type of linear equations or this type. So previously we did, in the previous slide, we did this type of equations. Y is equals to H or X is equals to K. No. Now we previously were talking about vertical lines like this one here and horizontal lines like this one here. Now we want to be focusing on those ones that are not necessarily vertical nor horizontal, and there are those equations in this form. They could be slanting, either from sloping upwards from left to right or sloping downwards from downwards from left to right, or the same. So we have questions on the same to help us with illustrations on how that can be done. And of course, at the end of the session, we'll give you some questions in the form of assignment to help you with practice and just to help you gauge on your understanding of the concept. So we have this. Draw the graphs of the following linear equations. What happens is that when you draw the line and pick any point along the line, you pick the coordinates of the selected point, you plug into this equation, it should be able to satisfy the equation. Or rather, substituting y for the value of y coordinate and substituting x for the value of the x coordinate will satisfy the equation, which means the left-hand side of the equation will still be equal to the right-hand side. So what you do is, when you want to draw the graph of such an equation, you pick values of x randomly. So choosing values of x randomly, any values of x. If you can use the number line, the better. So I decided to use the least values on the number line, the least three. That is -1, 0, and 1. Why? Because it's easier to work with values that are small, and these are the least three. -1, 0, and 1. Then you solve for corresponding values of y, and then you will treat this as a point, maybe point A. You'll also treat this as a point, maybe point B, and you also treat this as a point, maybe point C. So you have the coordinates. Coordinates are stated in terms of x and y. So that means I will have -1, 2. Then I will have 0. Now that is point B. So point B as 0, 5, and point C as 1, 8. Then you plot them. You see. From there you can plot them. So I have the first point -1, 2. So -1. You start with movement along the x-axis, then 2, positive. You see. That's how we get the point here. Then we have 0, 0, 5. So at the origin, no movement. When the coordinate is 0, it means you don't move along that axis. Then y-axis, you move 5 steps. So you move 5 steps up. That's how we get the point here. Then 1, 8. So 1. Then you go 8 steps up. See, that is how we get this point here. Then once you have the points, you simply line through the points. A straight line passing through the points. See? Then once the line is drawn, you label the line by simply writing the equation of the line next to the line. Y is equals to 3x plus 5. And that's what we call the graph of the straight line, or the straight line graph. Possibly somebody is wondering how we arrived at these values, these values here. How do you solve for the corresponding values of y? You just plug in the values of x into the equation. So 3x plus 5. So x is 2. So 3 into 2 plus 5. See, so that is 6 plus 5. Actually, this is x is negative 1. Sorry. So negative 1. So this becomes negative 3. So negative 3, you add 5, that is 2. The same applies to, so we have y is equals to 3x plus 5. So when x is 0, 3 into 0 plus 5, which is equals to 0 plus 5, and that is equals to 5. The same applies to when x is 1, so y is equals to 3x plus 5. X is 1, so 3 into 1 plus 5, which is equals to 3 plus 5, and that is 8. So that is how we are getting the corresponding values of y. Then from there you plot, you treat them as points. That is A, B, C. And then you plot them. You draw the straight line through that, and then you label the line. So the same applies to this. The equation is given as y is equals to 4x plus 3. So I'll do the same. So y is equals to 4x plus 3. So what happens when x is... Again, I've used just the least 3 numbers on the number line. So 4 into 1 plus 3. So 4 plus 7. 4 plus 3, which is equals to 7. So you write here 7. Then 0. So y is equals to 3x plus 4x plus 3. So 4 into 0 plus 3, which is equals to 0 plus 3, which is equals to 3. So this is 3. And finally, we have y is equals to 4x plus 3, but x is 1. So 4 into 1 plus 3, that is equals to 4 plus 3, which is equals to 7. Yeah, so don't ask where we got the negative 1, 0, and 1. I said these ones we pick them randomly from the number line. Pick any values of x, but I've decided to pick the least values on the number line because least values are easier to work with. So once you have that, you draw a Cartesian plane. This is our Cartesian plane. So we must make sure that all the values are accommodated. Like we have 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This 7 is accommodated. So we have then negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. Then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you see that 6, the last value here is 6. So 7 not accommodated. So what do we do? So possibly what we'll do is that we'll push the x-axis downwards a bit. X-axis will be yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So still that is not accommodating 7. So what we'll do is that we'll use a better scale, 2 units to represent a division. So but that has to be the same for both axes if you're drawing this line. So it has to be -2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. -4, -6, -8, -10. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So we have again 2, -4, 6, 8, and -10. Then now we plot. So we start with the first one should be -1, 7. Possibly that was a mistake. So you needed to substitute -1 here. It will be -4 plus 3, which is going to be -1. So this is going to be -1 here. So you treat them as points. So the first point is A, second point is B, and the last point is C. So point A should be -1, -1. B should be 0, 3, and C should be 1, 7. So you plot them. -1, -1 is there. So -1. But this is also -2. So -1, -1 is here. Then 0, 3 is here. Then 1, 7 is here. Then you draw a straight line that is passing through those points. The 3 points must be a straight line, must be in a straight line. That way. Then you label the line. Y is equals to 4x plus 3. So this is 4x. So y is equals to 4x plus 3. Label the line. Every time you must always remember to label your line. So that is how you go about it. That's how you should be able to draw a graph of a straight line, what we call the straight line graph. Remember the values of x we choose randomly. We solve for the corresponding values of y, and then you treat these as points. First point, second point, and third point. And then you plot on the Cartesian plane, and then you draw a straight line passing through the points. So that is how you go about it. I will leave this as an assignment you do together with these other assignments. Otherwise, that marks the end of the lesson. Until next time, goodbye.